Okay, picture this. You're in a lavish throne room in ancient Egypt. A family is about to be ripped apart, a ruler is playing a high-stakes game with his own brothers, and one man steps up to make the plea of his life. It sounds like a Hollywood epic, right? But what if I told you this scene is actually a secret blueprint, a hidden code for the end of days? Let's get into it. This is the moment it all comes to a head. The powerful viceroy of Egypt has just framed the youngest brother, Benjamin, and is demanding he stay behind as a slave. But then Judah, the same Judah who years ago came up with the idea to sell another brother into slavery, steps forward and says, "Take me instead." This is a man who has been completely transformed. So, who are the two central figures in this incredible showdown? Well, it's a tale of two brothers, and their actions are going to send ripples all the way down through history. On one side, you have Yosef, or Joseph. He's the second in command of the entire Egyptian empire, and he's secretly pulling all the strings, testing the brothers who left him for dead. And on the other side, you have Yehuda, or Judah. He is not the same guy he used to be. He's now the one taking full responsibility, willing to give up his own freedom for his family. So you have practical worldly power versus deep spiritual change. Remember those two roles, the practical builder and the spiritual redeemer. They are the key to this whole thing. And here is where the story just completely blows up into something much bigger. Because according to a really deep mystical Jewish tradition, this whole standoff between Joseph and Judah isn't just about a family squabble. It's a prophecy in disguise, a pattern for how the entire world is supposed to be redeemed. To really unpack this, we need to dive into a fascinating and, pretty controversial mystical text that changes how you see this entire story. The text is called the Kol Hator, which means the voice of the turtle dove. Now, that name comes from the Song of Songs, where the sound of the turtle dove means spring is on its way. And that's the whole idea. Redemption isn't some big, flashy miracle that happens all at once. It's a process. It starts with a quiet signal, like the first bird of spring. Now, the ideas in this book come from one of the most legendary minds in all of Jewish history, the Vilna Gaon, and that's pronounced Gaon. This guy was an absolute giant, a master of Kabbalah, and he believed his own time back in the 1700s was what the mystics call the footsteps of the Messiah. He taught that people couldn't just sit on their hands and wait for a miracle. No, they had to get up and actually start building the foundation for redemption themselves. And this brings us right to the heart of the Kol Hator's secret doctrine. It's a pretty radical idea, that the Messianic age doesn't come from one person, but from a two-part mission carried out by two very different Messianic figures. Okay, let's break this chart down, because this is the whole blueprint right here. First, you have Mashiach ben Yosef, the Messiah from the line of Joseph. His job is all about the physical world. He's the pioneer, the builder. He has to gather the Jewish people from exile, build up the land, and even fight the necessary wars. His story is defined by struggle and sacrifice. Sound familiar? Just like Joseph in Egypt. And only when his tough, practical job is done can the second figure show up, Mashiach ben David, the Messiah from the line of David, who is represented by Judah. His role is purely spiritual. He brings in the age of peace, rebuilds the temple, and basically completes the spiritual redemption of the world. The crucial point here is that this isn't a contest between the two, it's a partnership. They're inseparable. You absolutely cannot have the spiritual peace of King David and Judah until the hard, messy, practical groundwork has been laid by Joseph. It's like trying to put a roof on a house that doesn't have any walls or a foundation yet. It just doesn't work. So you might be thinking, okay, fascinating old mystical idea. But this concept didn't stay in dusty books. It had a massive, real-world impact, providing a kind of spiritual engine for one of the most significant political movements of modern times. For the followers of religious Zionism, this was a complete game changer. All of a sudden, the dirty, sweaty work of farming the land, draining swamps, even fighting in an army, it wasn't just secular work anymore. It was holy work. It was part of the messianic process. They weren't just building a nation, they were actively playing the role of Mashiach ben Yosef. It's an amazing example of how a mystical idea can give profound meaning to real-world struggle. And so, for believers in this doctrine, when the State of Israel was declared in 1948, it wasn't just a political victory. For them, it was a sign, a tangible, historical proof that the era of Meshiach ben Yosef had truly begun. This was stage one, the difficult but essential first step toward the final redemption.
But, of course, an idea this big and this powerful is never simple. It comes with a lot of debate, controversy, and some really profound questions of faith. Not everyone is on board with this interpretation.
So, to give you the full picture, let's look at the criticisms. First, some historians doubt if the Kol HaTor is even authentic, suggesting it might have been written much later to give a spiritual boost to Zionism. Other religious thinkers argue that it focuses way too much on human action and sort of sidelines God's role in redemption. And then, of course, you have anti-Zionist religious groups who completely reject the idea that a modern secular state could have anything holy or messianic about it at all.
When you boil it all down, the Kol HaTor really presents us with a fundamental choice. It asks a tough question. Is faith just about waiting patiently for a perfect, divine miracle to come down from the sky? Or is it about having the vision to see the sacred in the messy, imperfect, and often frustrating work of building a better world right here on the ground? And that leaves us with a question that goes way beyond this one story. Forget religion or politics for a second. Think about any big goal. Does real change come from waiting for the perfect solution to just appear? Or does it come from people willing to get their hands dirty, to build the foundation, to do the hard preparatory work, knowing that what they're doing is just the first, essential step in a much longer journey?